Good morning, everybody. Are we recording? All right, thank you very much. I call the meeting to order. Would you please take the roll?
Ms. Burrow. Here. Mr. Chappell. Here. Ms. Galbraith. Here. Ms. Gibson. Here. Mayor Kelly.
Yes, here. Before we start, council, under the regular agenda items, there's only two. I'd like to add a third, and we'll need a first and a second if you agree. But the folks down there at Parkway Garden Apartments are going to be asking for a temporary office to be put on site, and we'll probably have to have some conversation about that. So, is that something we would like to talk about today, or do you want to put it on the next agenda?
Tomorrow? You talking about tomorrow's meeting?
It's too late for tomorrow because it's got to be 7 days in advance. This was a call in just to add this, but you know, we're putting it out like we do. It's already gone for the today and tomorrow.
You can make a motion though tomorrow.
I can't.
They can.
I'm fine to have a discussion anytime.
I'm ready to go too because I don't know these people. But what do you think, Mr. Sloan? Do we have to? What do we have to have?
Well, are they gonna come and present something to you, Mayor?
This is all I have so far.
It was their plan to come present tomorrow evening.
Well, then,
Oh, so it wasn't today's meeting.
No, sir, tomorrow night.
Okay.
Tomorrow night.
Okay. So, well, how do you feel about having it on tomorrow's meeting, or you think they should wait 7 days?
I think we should get it on. Parkway Gardens have been sitting there for 4 years.
Yeah.
That needs to be dealt with immediately.
Well, I was going to say that too, but so
And
we'll
I
put
can
it.
give you guys a brief when we get to that point if you want me to.
Okay, or let's just put it on for tomorrow. We'll just make it for tomorrow. How many items do we have on tomorrow's agenda?
I think just two.
2 or 3? Okay, great. All right, well, we'll leave that off, and then we'll talk about that tomorrow. Very good. And then item 1 is the discussion of the manual, the procedures manual.
Okay, so I'll start. So I think my biggest concerns at this point are getting the procedures in place for what we have to have for the audit.
Audit, yep.
So I went back through the audit and pulled out the items that I think that we have not addressed. It appears that we have not addressed 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Refresh us, would you, what those items were?
Absolutely. 4 is bank recs in a timely manner, but also reviewed by management. We don't have a procedure for reviewing them by management. It looks like we have a procedure for having them done by the end of the following month.
I think, so since I've talked to you, I was kind of waiting for everybody's procedure manuals from the other cities, and I did get Callaway's today. That's what's up there. They really don't have what I was looking for, but they have 8 different procedural manuals. Springfield also, I'm sorry, the way this works now, I can't see my screen, and I can't see that far, so this doesn't work very well. Callaway sent me theirs. Now we're out. So, they don't really have a manual with everything in it. But what I did is the same thing I think that you did. I went ahead and added what was missing from the audit.
Okay, so we just don't have that.
Right, because I just did this on Friday.
Okay? So can we get a copy of that?
Sure. Do you want it right now, or do you want me to email it to you?
Well, are you expecting us to approve it today?
No, I didn't think we'd get to approval today.
Okay. Well, then I can just cover all the things that I know
Yeah,
we're missing if you
go
want me
for
to do
it.
that. So,
Number 4, you said.
yeah, which is the bank recs. It says the policy that was in the packet that you sent us had information about being done by the end of the day of the following month. It didn't say the following month, it just said the end of the day of the month. So I'm assuming of the following month.
Here's what I added, that might help you guys. I put, with the addition of the accountant who comes in on a weekly basis, the city implemented formal end-of-month closing processes. The monthly financial statements are reviewed by the city clerk for accuracy and reasonableness and signs the bank statements. For further control, each department head is given monthly revenue and expenditure statements for review. The accountant will be able to assist with month-end closing procedures.
Okay, so that somewhat covers month-end procedures, but I think that it probably needs to be more detailed based on what I'm reading in our audit. They want a process, a month-end closing process.
Okay.
So I think that you're gonna have to
So
clarify.
bookkeeper overlooks it, it gets sent to department heads, then it goes like the checklist basically, right?
I think they want the entire process. So you balance the bank accounts, you balance your payable accounts, you balance your grant accounts, like the entire process is what I'm reading in the audit.
Okay.
because grants was also one of the things not fixed.
Are you saying per month?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying per month?
Yes, that's what the audit is
says.
requiring. All right, and then number 5 was,
This is the FRS.
okay, so did you put anything in there on FRS?
I have so many sheets.
5
Yes.
is the retirement system where it's not getting put into the system accurately.
It's, there's a whole step-by-step procedure for that too. I don't know that I have it with me though. It's gonna be in. Department heads, I don't know where it's at in here. I highlighted it on mine. But we do have, it goes from me now to a second set of eyes before being submitted, and they have to also reconcile it with the bank statement Julie does. So we do have process.
You're talking about the monthly payment for retirement, right?
FRS, right?
So could we also put in there that, I don't mean to cut you off, Stace, that we recommend that all employees in the 6 months prior to drop or retirement make an appointment in Tallahassee. When I went and did it, that's what they recommended that everybody does. And they do an audit of the city's payments during the period of time of employment. And that way they can tabulate your amount of retirement, but at the same time, they know if any mistakes have been made either which way.
Does that need to be added to the employee manual as well?
No, I don't know about that, but it's a procedure, is what it would be, a procedure for employees to
Right,
do.
FRS handles that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just, I would suggest, because a lot of people don't realize how state retirement works, you can get a number assigned to you so you can check your own monthly, quarterly, annually. And it didn't happen to me, but I know 2 employees where there was some mistakes made in the past, and they had to remedy it. And,
I mean, I feel like that would probably be in the termination portion of the handbook, maybe?
well, it's not termination, it's retirement only.
Well-
It only applies
It's
to
just-
retirement.
Doesn't the termination cover all that in the handbook? I don't remember the entire handbook.
And that's why I included the handbook, because I didn't want us to put it in.
I don't know if that's, I don't know.
But the handbook's intended to be stuff between you and the employee,
Right.
not,
Not
Not
state.
the employee and the
the
state.
state.
No. So I just thought if we put in the handbook saying that you have the ability to contact the retirement division.
I think that it is probably helpful to them. It shouldn't be a requirement on us, but I think
Right.
it needs to be a blurb in there to say, hey,
We get monthly, I get a statement from FRS that
Right.
tells me, I send it to the department heads every time I get it. If anybody's about to retire, they're supposed to contact FRS. They
Correct.
get-
Okay. I didn't know you got
Okay.
that statement. Okay, great.
Okay, so we have a procedure, we just need to type it up and
Yep,
put it into the
and I
policy.
did, it's not, I'm not pulling it up though. I've already done it, because I just submitted FRS, so as I did it, I typed up what I did, so that way it was in there.
okay, so FRS is taken care of.
And then 6 with the month-end closeout, we already talked about that. 7 is requiring a signature on quarterly FEMA reporting.
That is actually, when this was put into our audit, that was actually already being done. Taylor has to approve them before payments can be made. That's handled by Taylor Jeffries.
Okay, at the time of this report, it was not, at the time of the audit, it had not been taken care of.
It was, they just didn't include it in it. That's why, see the state retirement reporting one? It says, when you go back into it, it says that it was already actually corrected. But they included it because they knew about it. Wherever they are, here they are.
What number did I just say I was on? 7?
7.
7 says right here, not corrected. The city continues to improve, but it's not corrected.
It is, Taylor handles it. So it should be off of this correct.
Okay,
She,
So at 2021, it wasn't, so I think you need to include a procedure on it. Even if we're doing it, I think that it needs to be in the procedures so that we can show that we're doing it and how we're actually doing it. And then 8 was signature approval on FEMA reporting.
That's-
FEMA reimbursement, so very similar. I just think you need a process for it.
No, I see it here where you're talking about, Janie. It was
what
under
page
number,
is it on?
it was on number we're talking about number 7, right? Document of quarterly reports.
Right, and that,
Yeah, it says the city implemented procedures, it's on page 78.
thank you.
Procedures to document review of reports for accuracy and to make sure reports are completed in a timely manner. So throughout the year, Public Works Assistant input, so it was corrected and it's shown in.
Go to page 81.
7 though, what she's talking about for number.
It was number
On
7.
page 78, April, it's telling you what was wrong.
Right, but it also shows where it was corrected. It says views of responsible officials and planned corrective action. And it says throughout the year, the Public Works Assistant input percentage of complete projects. So it's saying that this is happening, and then the spreadsheet will continue to be prepared by the Public Works Assistant and then sent to Public Works. So it has been corrected.
It has, and what we'll do is, like you said, Ms. Goff, we'll put procedures in place so that way they're listed out. Same thing for number 76, on page 76, the Florida retirement system. It tells you in here that this actually didn't even, the issues they found didn't even happen during this audit, it happened after it.
Well, then we need to talk to Richard, because his
Okay.
findings at the end, and starting on page 81, identify what year, a brief description, and whether or not it's been fully corrected. So everything that we're talking about says in here, not corrected.
Right. And that's why if you look at page 76 about the FRS, it says the city clerk implemented additional strategies to ensure the pension submissions reports are completed and reviewed monthly for accuracy and completeness. We have implemented a review by the bookkeeper prior to submission. The bookkeeper reviews all submissions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then it says the errors identified during this audit were from November through January of 22, which wasn't even this audit, and they were corrected by May of 2022.
Okay, well then his report's super hard to understand, because page 81 is the
It
exact
says
opposite
not
of that.
corrected,
The
but
polar
it
opposite
was
of that.
corrected
Yeah.
in the
So-
breakdown.
But, and if we're doing it, I still think that it should be a process and
Me too.
procedure, so that we've got
Okay.
it in writing and we can show them exactly what we're doing.
Exactly, because from 20's audit to 21's audit, we went from, I think, 17 findings down to 11. Some of these findings we can never get rid of because of lack of employees, but a lot of them we can. So,
Well, that was the actual very first one, is lack of segregation.
we're not gonna have, like, we can't get rid of it, there's not enough of us to.
Well, it looks like you've solved some of the problems.
Some of them we have.
So we've gotten rid of 4.
6 between 20 and 21.
We went from 17 to 11, but then this list was 11, but we got rid of another 4.
12, maybe.
So
Okay, so where do we go from here? Because that was my major concerns, is getting us a start with that. I'm of the opinion that we need to get that wrapped up and into a nice, neat little package before we even move on to the next steps.
Okay.
But that's totally up for discussion. That's just how I feel. I think this is absolutely the most crucial, in hopes that we can knock off 5 more items.
That's what we want to.
Well, could we
But we
not have
also
a
don't even
small
have a
manual to
procedure.
start with and add and delete as needed?
Well, and was my question, when I handed you guys, when I gave out the packet and I put internal processes, I also included what I wrote, step-by-step payroll. Do you want it that in-depth?
I think for some of these things you need it, and you could almost do it like a procedure manual and then reference work instructions to the
Okay.
back of the manual,
But
where you give detail.
see,
but-
this kind of thing though is included in BSNA's manual. So that's where Mr. Palmer was helping, he wanted to get all into BSNA because this is all from BSNA, basically. What you do is all in BSNA, so it could say, see BSNA manual, something simple like that. So as far as the processes go, this internal process sheet, is this what you're thinking, just add to it?
Well, I mean, I think I need a lot more detail than what I've looked at, so.
Okay,
But if you have typed up things that you haven't sent us, then I don't know that we're at a place where we can even.
Talk about it.
no.
Okay.
And are you gonna somewhat follow Callaway's?
Callaway has 8 different manuals. Let me get back on there. Let me get to it and then I'll put it back on the screen.
Do they have one for each department? Is that what theirs is, more or less?
Or did they sort of just,
I'll
okay,
show
we're
you.
just gonna keep adding on and here's the additional manual?
They send it in 8 different documents. Does that necessarily mean they have 8 different procedure manuals? Or they just
Yes.
have one procedure manual that covers?
Here's what they, So they have this one that is, do you need me to turn off the light or something so I can see it better?
It's 6-1, there you go,
I don't know.
That helps.
a little, yeah.
Jamie, can you hit
Maybe
this
that
one?
better.
Cause it's.
So they have this is their personnel, this is their employee handbook.
That's her handbook, okay?
Then they have,
I think it's really awesome that they shared this with us.
they're wonderful. They're, anybody you reach out to is very helpful. Make it bigger? Nope. So then they have an accounting policy manual, and then you can see them all. Well, somebody can see them all. I can't see that far.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah.
Public records request, purchasing manual.
So do you think that you can use theirs and kind of tweak it to,
They have a much bigger staff than we do.
but you're still doing the same things? I mean, you're
Pretty
doing the
much.
exact same things,
See
it's
how
just,
in-depth theirs is? That's
yeah,
why
I think
was
it's
asking,
fantastic.
So that's the direction we wanna go, not internal processes.
Well,
I would say both.
like I said, I think that you need a procedure, and if you wanna reference work instructions, you can reference work instructions. I don't know how theirs is written.
So that's just for accounting.
But at least it gives you a good starting point, and you can see the things, if you go off of this one, you can see the things that we're lacking and missing, probably.
Now, as far as, Springfield, they have nothing like this. I can't see where I'm at.
So it's not letting you have the screen, you can't see the screen that's on that screen.
No.
I can call Bay County and come out.
So, Springfield. Springfield's is very minimal. I don't even see it on here.
Well, I like the way Callaway's, I mean, it looks like they have a lot of information in it.
She actually sent me them in a Word so I can work on them. Okay, so we'll continue doing it and go through that way, and I'll add the additions that you said. Okay.
I think do you guys disagree? I mean, I feel
No,
like
I
really we
think
should
this
start
is-
with the accounting policy and procedure and get that one up to date before we start doing everything else.
So I know it's not on the agenda, but can we go back to the audit to see, so based off of what I counted, there were 12 items on the last audit. 4 were already addressed. That leaves 8 is what I'm seeing.
Right, and your, number 1 is significant audit adjustments. Suzanne's handling that internally now.
So that's been taken
Probably
care of.
going to go away. Segregation of duties will never go away. Financial statements, schedule for expenditures will go away. Bankruptcy reconciliations will go away. The retirement will go away. Month-end closing will go away. 7 will go away. 8 will go away. 9 will go away. We just redid the employee manual, employee handbook, so we had each person write down that they knew what their pay scale was, what their pay rate was when they signed the document. So I'm hoping that takes care of 10. Capital assets, that is handled by Public Works, and we have already set up a separate.
Hold on, where's 10? What page is 10 on?
On 81, it says
120.
certain financial statement detailed timesheets not available. On 81, 2020-010.
I don't have that, it's not in my book.
This is the, maybe that's where you're.
Yeah, can I have that? Can I have a copy of that?
Sure.
That's not in our audit.
I've got it.
That would have been super helpful.
It was emailed to us, the 21 audit. That's what I'm working off of.
I am too,
Huh.
but she's got pages that we don't have, or that I don't have in my audit.
No, I think me and Jamie are on the same page.
Internal control recommendations.
I would like, can you give me a copy of that before I leave?
Should we contact Richard and see if he can send everybody a new, more accurate one, that everybody has the same information?
April said she got it though, so.
I have it. It's the 21 audit. It's what was emailed to all of us.
Well, I didn't look at the email because I had a printed copy.
That's
But
what I
you're
looked
just-
at. I looked at my printed copy. Yep,
So-
yep, you're right.
So
I-
Richard
So you
printed that?
stopped at 80.
Yeah, you got one
And he
too.
left pages out. Random.
She's right, cause I got the same document and I read that the same way.
Yep.
Okay. I will get you guys this.
So the way that 10 reads, certain timesheets sampled from February 2020 were not available from one department tested. The only documentation available was a summary of hours spreadsheets kept by the bookkeeper without supporting documentation to indicate accuracy of spreadsheet and approval of the hours reported. And that has been corrected.
It is. Every
And it
bookkeeper-
says corrected on here, actually, for 2020. Or for this 21 audit, it says corrected.
So I think you're only gonna have a couple left, and that's just lack of.
So you got 11 was taken care of, the FEMA.
It's
That's-
two, should be two that couldn't fix, wasn't it?
There's.
Minimal
there's always
manpower, yeah.
Segregation of duties.
Segregation.
But a lot of the segregation duties we should be able to fix.
It's, the utility clerks count each other's, they count their drawers, then they switch, they count each other's drawers. A third person signs off on the bank statement and takes it to the bank escorted by the police. All of that's been fixed, so I hope they count that as segregation of duties, basically, that the money is never counted and handled by the same person. I think that may have happened in the past, I don't know.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think it's that. I think it's the signing of checks. Whoever writes the checks did not sign the check. Whoever signs the check should not do the bank reconciliation. I think
Right.
it's all of those kind of
And
things.
I
You guys
have-
should have enough employees now
You've already,
to be able to address all
We
that.
do.
That's-
I am a bank signer, but I have not signed a check since I've been here. It's because I approve the checks and I don't feel comfortable
signing a check.
signing a check that I
Yeah.
can approve, so I don't.
We should probably ask Richard if that will ding us, and if that will ding us, we just should take you off the account, if you're not signing checks anyway. I mean, there's plenty of people sitting at
To
this table
come
that
do
can
it,
sign.
yes, I will email him.
So I would ask him if that'll hurt.
Well, you never know what kind of predicament, somebody might not be able to be gotten hold of or something, and we may have to.
I mean,
But
we
during the
have-
storm, I
Yeah.
can see that's probably why they put the clerk on.
It's
So we have
always,
six,
it's
that
always
was
been
6
on there.
signers right here, correct? And we need two for a check.
But Jamie approves everything.
Right.
That'll be a big thing on the audit, I can promise you.
It's always been, the clerk has always been on the bank account.
I can email him and ask him if
Always.
it's hurting us to have the clerk as a signer on the account.
Let's just ask,
Sure.
and then we can make an educated decision what we wanna do after we know what the answer is.
Yep, okay. Alrighty. Good, alright. So do we want to move on to fees?
Yes.
So, are we, Mr. Chappell, are you happy with the conversation we've had so far with this?
Yeah.
And then, when we get the other information, we can look at it again. Discussion of user fees and application fees.
All right, Mr. Sloan, you said we can't change any of the fees in the business license fees? How long
you
have they
say?
been the same amount?
I mean, some of these, one of them is a travel agency. I mean, that kind of gives you the really good, I mean,
Well, there still are travel agencies.
I think there's like one in the whole county.
Well, you never know, somebody might come in and wanna put
But
one.
how long have they been this exact amount?
I don't remember changing them within the last 5 years.
So how much can we change them? I mean, I'm mainly concerned about like the apartment rental, $4.40.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's some that are so small it doesn't pay for the postage back and forth. So how much can we change those?
Did you say
My
14%?
recollection of the, I gave you my statute, but my recollection was 3% biannually.
So every 2 years, we can increase it 3%.
Correct.
But we
We
never
just-
have.
But we never have.
But we never have. It's like everything else. If we'd been doing it, we wouldn't have this issue.
So can we go ahead and just across the board add 3%, and then we just put it on the agenda, or put it on the calendar from the clerk? And every 2 years, we need to bring this up and increase it. These are,
Well, this is
Laughable.
in an ordinance right now, so we'll have to amend the ordinance.
Okay.
so we can't go any more than that because of the state law, correct?
Correct.
So we just do what Mr. Sloan says. Council, what do you think? Will amend the ordinance? Just add 3% every year?
Every 2 years.
Or every other? Yeah. I don't know anything. I should have been doing it already.
So
Yeah.
we're talking
Some of
12
these are
cents every other year
laughable.
for
Yep.
some of these.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, that is just for,
That's for the business tax.
business licenses, but not fees as far as the list I gave you. And I reached out to the other cities as well to find out all of their fees, and we're compatible on on some, not on others.
Well, so my concern is I would like to know how much, I'm on the application fees page. What is it costing us to do these things? Like,
I don't think anything should ever cost us more than the amount we collect, ever.
and my guess is it's costing us more than $2,000 to do a large scale comp plan.
Absolutely,
Absolutely more
you
than that.
betcha.
But we would build a builder for the difference.
Is that what we're doing now?
We are
That's what
now.
we do, yeah.
We keep track of everything that costs, Mr. Sloan's review fees,
Yeah.
Baker's review fees, advertising fees.
And then
So
they
this
send,
application fee then thing is not correct.
Oh, it's correct, that's what they have to pay to start.
but they don't always pay, do they? Do they ever not pay us?
I don't know that they've ever been charged in the past. I
Right.
don't know. I can't-
Yeah, see, I don't know
You-
about
you
that.
Okay,
better
then I'm
off getting
confused,
it
cause I
up
thought this was
front.
our
Up front.
application fee.
See,
so-
They
Here,
are.
I
They
agree
are.
with Mr. Sloan completely. We should have that up front. If you've got enough money to build a building, you can afford $5,000.
Now, things will change though, like the land use change, we no longer have to pay to have the advertising done because we use the county's website.
Yeah, that's a good thing, but I still think we should charge more than
But
we
it's
do
still
charge.
costing us money and your all's time and, you know, we should.
Well, let's back up for a second. I thought that we had a list of what we were charging. If this list is not accurate,
It
I would
is-
like an accurate list.
No, that is accurate, but say East Bay Flats comes in and we have to, on the, say major development, and so then they come in and Mr. Sloan takes 5 days to review it, and so we will have to add, they have to pay $1,000 up front. If they come in under 1,000, then it's still 1,000, but if they come in over, we would bill them for the additional.
And that's what I'm saying, then this is not accurate. This says that we charge $2,045. So if we do something different than that, I would like to see this sheet be updated so that I know what we're actually charging.
But each one is different
I have no
compared.
idea what to say his hours would be, or Elizabeth's hours would be.
Then what I would like to see is we charge them $1,000 and then we bill them,
Monthly,
whatever
Engineer,
the
quarterly.
cost
law,
is.
lawyer.
up
Still working
to,
on it
do we
back.
have a, high? Well, I think that this needs to be updated.
I think 1,000 is a bit thin. I think it should be more. And I tell you why, because it's easy to get something on the front side rather than chase them on the back side.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Sloan.
Once they get the development order, then
They're
We
free.
have no way to.
Rick, what are you
Well,
gonna
I
do to
think that they
stop
should
it?
pay for it before they get the development order.
That's right.
But most importantly, I wanna see a list that's accurate, Jamie. Please.
I don't know how to do that, though. I have no idea what he's gonna charge me per review.
Okay, then
Could we take an average of the last 50 and,
Then I want you to just say that
Just
we
like-
charge a minimum fee of $1,000 plus additional costs.
Okay.
And what
So
those
like
additional
plus
Engineer,
costs-
et cetera.
Yeah,
Plus additional.
Okay, so on these application fees, are we on the same 2% or is that a different?
no, that's a different
So,
issue.
I think straight off the bat, the large scale comp plan, that
Those-
needs to be minimum.
I think that may be set somewhere because Callaway and Springfield are exactly $2,045 as well.
Do you think, is that a state rule then?
It may be, I haven't
It
looked
was
at
just
the,
an odd number for everybody to have the same amount.
at the comp
and
plan.
if it's a state rule, how can we
statute.
add additional fees to it?
Just the comp plan amendment she's talking about.
But we still will have to have more engineering and, right?
yeah.
I mean, there's still
Well,
additional fees.
the comp
that-
plan amendment, has a minimal engineering review. There's some drafting involved because we have to get a new, map.
Like, yeah,
And so I don't know what they charge for that. Jamie, do you know what they've been charging?
I think 1,500 per.
That's what Anchor's been charging? Well, if they're at 1,500, I'll take a look at the statute and see, but obviously, if Anchor's at 1,500 and we're only charging 2,045 with publication costs in the past,
Correct.
and
And you have to, those are the
you're
maps and
not
all,
make,
it's
you're not,
expensive.
we're not
even
even covering
recouping.
our costs.
No.
So on major development, what do Callaway, Springfield, Panama City, the beach, what are their fees, do we know?
Callaway charges $500 for review in-house, $500 for submittal, and that's to their lawyer and their anchor, or whoever they use, and then a $500 for any deviation in the plans. If they decide they wanna change something after they've submitted it, they hit them for another 500. So they're at 1,500. Or 1,000 if they don't change anything.
Okay, that's Callaway, right? Do we
I
have?
didn't, I couldn't find it on Springfield's. Some of their forms
Well-
didn't have amounts.
On this, I think that we need to figure out what it's costing us. I think we need to know what it's costing us and base it on that. And if we don't know what it's costing us, then I think that we charge a flat rate plus any fees.
Any additional fees.
That's basically what we're doing now. It's a
And
flat
just to
1,000
confirm,
plus
Jamie,
fees.
you're getting all of the money before you're issuing the final permit or whatever
The
it
final
is they're
order.
getting,
That's
the final
Melissa.
order.
Let me see if she can come in.
So,
I mean, cause I break out on my bill, once I know that somebody's submitting a permit, I try to break out
So we can add it to their list.
the amount
so
on my
it's-
bill, so
it's
that
itemized.
that you guys can track it.
So the ones that are zeros,
Let me find her. Thank you.
so cell antennas.
We really don't have a lot of those.
But I mean, you're looking at, it's usually a Verizon or T-Mobile or some large
Well, you've
corporation.
got that big antenna up here,
They pay, they pay.
and they pay a.
Yeah, they
fixed
pay us a
rate.
fee to have the spot all in there.
What about demo?
Callaway charges 0 as well.
We just want them to rip it down and get rid of it, we don't care. Driveway,
We charge 100, Callaway charges a price per foot, but their form didn't say what the price was per foot.
Well, I think if we're gonna make people have a permit, we should at least charge them what it costs us to put the permit together. I
like
mean, even if it's
the
$25.
time of the people, yeah.
I think 100, staying at 100 is fine.
I think that it takes more than an hour for labor to get a permit. At least it did for my windows I recently got. Took several hours of time.
So if we're looking at hourly, are we looking at 25 an hour? Is that what we're looking
Plus
at?
benefits, you're probably looking at 50. That the people have to pay, we have to pay. I mean, that's an awful cheap amount for a permit, don't you think, really? It is, it's a bargain. $4.40 to have a
home
rental.
edition, $150.
I know. I mean,
I mean, that has to go to engineering, correct? That has to go to Melissa taking a look at it.
Hey, thanks.
Hello. You're very vibrant today.
You can just sit, because they got questions. Yeah. Should we go back to?
The question that we had was, are we getting all of our money prior to issuing any development orders or permits?
No.
Okay, so we need to rectify that. We don't need to issue anything until we get our money.
Can we
Why would we do that?
update that through?
Because Sloan's bills come in a month later and so do Anchor's. So you'll be holding the DO extensively after your approval, waiting on their final billing.
Okay, then we need to rectify that.
yeah, so shouldn't we have the money up front and give them back the difference after the DO is approved?
But we don't know how, I
Can
mean,
we,
we can guess.
Are we not getting paid? Let me ask that. Is there anybody that's not paying us?
Well, they pay for their initial review fee, yes. There's some people that owe excess amount of money after it's over, like on your land use changes. Those, it's $1,100 that they pay in the beginning, but ultimately it's costing the city $3,500
Because Anchor is 1,500 just for the.
just to do the review.
Okay.
Okay, so how much money do you think is sitting out there that we haven't been paid because,
Tens of thousands?
Between 10 and 20,000, yeah.
okay. So for me, what I need to see is, I need this list updated. I would like to see what these are costing us. If
Yeah.
we know a hard cost, I'd like to see a column for hard cost.
They're all different though.
But they're all different.
They're all different. That's why.
That's why I'm saying if we know the hard cost, I wanna see what the hard cost is. If we don't know the hard cost, you guys are throwing
What's the
numbers
first
out
one,
that you
Amy?
definitely know.
The
I
only
would like
thing
to see
that's
those
gonna
on
be
here.
different is your major development and your comp plan amendments. Because your minor development, accessory structure, that doesn't change. And, Sloan isn't usually involved in any of those.
But,
So
so
then
what
it
you,
should be fairly easy to get me a column of cost.
You've got spreadsheets going.
or at
most of
least
them
if we
already.
can get an,
Yeah. We started
okay,
doing
in
this
the,
about a
maybe
year
the,
ago.
like the last 10 or 20 that we've done, you know, going back however far, the total amount so that we can at least put some sort of average
They
together.
just said that they can get it.
Mhm.
Okay.
She's already. She started working on this about a year ago. Because
Okay.
when we came in, we had no idea what.
What was owed.
And then once I think that we have an average of what those major developments and large-scale developments are costing us, then I agree with the mayor on that. We charge them up front and refund if we have to. Then at least we get our money before we give a development order.
So you're saying large-scale comp plan is minimum for Anchor is $3,500,
No, 1,500 from Anchor.
1,500.
She's 1,500 just for the review, that's not to change the map. She charges another $1,000 to change the map, so she's 2,500 minimum.
But we're worried
And
that
for a
that
small
will,
comp plan, not a large.
right.
We haven't done a large, just small. So I don't know what the large comp plan amendment would even cost.
Large means over 10 acres. Is it 10?
Is there even 10 acres?
No,
or-
it went up.
20?
It's 40 now, I
40,
think.
yeah, we won't even have.
They'll
that.
never have one then.
So really, this item should just be small-scale comp plan amendment.
And, I mean, I think we need to have both, not that, I mean, somebody could finagle 40 acres together in Parker, great for them, but we still need to have a price on it. And I say we just throw a ballpark number of what estimate.
I think though that might be regulated because Callaway's is that odd $2,045 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that statute.
And what about major development? Because I think $1,000 is,
Well, I don't know that we can make educated decisions without information in front of us. I mean, I feel like we have to know what's costing us to be able to know what to charge.
can you put together the list for the major developments too? Let's look at that.
I can pull my spreadsheet, I already have Anchor's costs, it's trying to get Sloan's costs, sorry. He puts them under general, not in there, I think
Well, I
they should
used
be,
to,
a major
but
development
I'm
should have its own
trying to be
column, in
better.
my opinion.
Okay.
You asked me to create a planning, so this month's bill had a planning
Okay.
on it.
I was just reviewing that plan. That's why I was crying when I came in the room.
Oh, Mayor.
Okay. Other things though, like single family home, pods are free for 14 days, shoreline dredging, do we even have anything to do with shoreline dredging? Isn't that DEP?
That's the dock permit,
That's,
that's just the name that's on the permit.
We still have to do it. I still would like to know what you think it costs you. I need a column for
So
costs.
we do
So-
250, Anchor charges us 200.
Okay, so in here it says 0.
because it's not on the permit itself.
It's on the back page of the permit.
Let me look.
You're gonna ask us how they paid, if it was cash, check, it's on the left.
Is it on the back? Okay. So it's 250.
Okay,
So
well,
that
it's not on
covers-
our list.
Okay, I'll update it.
Okay, so we're gonna get an accurate list of all application fees and then add a column for what we think it's gonna cost us.
What do you guys think about charging up front? I mean, Stacy's talking, but nobody else has said,
I mean, it's like, when you're.
we shouldn't have to pay the fee for somebody
You
to
put a
make money.
deposit down, right?
That's
When
right.
you rent a house.
That's exactly right.
You put the deposit down, if it,
If it's
You know,
more,
if
you pay more. If it's less,
however much, you throw $200 to the bartender and
Yeah.
say, let me know if this'll cover
Right.
everything. By the end of the night, and he's like, oh, it's only 100, you get your 100 back.
or 60.
Or the bar tab is 500 and
Right.
then you're
Pay the
paying
difference.
an extra 300.
Yep.
I think that's how we should do it. I think paying up front and then they get.
What
the
do you
rest
think,
back.
Ron? Anything?
I
I think we're being really conservative on the out-of-pocket expense for the employees because they work on this stuff relentlessly, and I know it takes a lot more time than they're actually being compensated for.
How about minor development, like a single family home?
They get paid for a day, get paid during the day to do whatever that they need to be doing.
I realize that, but they're doing it for a developer. They're not doing it for the city.
That's still for the city. I mean, the city's making money off of it and it's in the city.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what
that's-
others would do.
And I agree with that, but I can't make a decision about application fees until I know.
If we don't know what the fee is.
We don't have enough information, and the list is not accurate.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Do we start looking at food truck and, so there's 0 for land clearing, 0 for livestock. I guess the only livestock you can have in Parker, right, are the chickens.
It's supposed to be $25 for livestock.
That's also not on here.
Well, I know people that aren't paying that.
I didn't
and I went through the drawer and pulled out all of the applications, those are the only ones that were in there.
Well, I think we can talk about this until the end of time, until we have an accurate list, there's no
Yeah.
problem. But Melissa, don't leave, because you can probably answer these questions too. About the deposits, we have said at some point during a council meeting that we weren't charging enough for deposits, that very often if people move out, renters move out, we're getting held.
For the water
Deposits.
water
So-
utility.
Do you know how often that happens and what the deposit actually should be?
I can tell you, Springfield charges $250 deposit plus a $15 fee. Callaway charges $110 for military and
$250 for, residential houses.
$250, but $110 for military. We don't allow military discounts. Ours are, we have people moving out left and right, and their deposit does not cover their last bill.
So I would like to know that, like, how much is this costing us that we don't have? How often is it costing us that we don't have? And I don't know if that's an easy thing to get,
There's
Melissa.
no way to run a
I do
report.
lien searches every day, and I
Yeah.
submit lien searches where we could, if we could collect on a rental property. So when you do a lien search, it's just a property owner, but yet it's a rental, so there's several renters that have excess bills. I'm talking like over $1,000, over $2,000 that the city loses from a renter because we can't collect it from the property owner at closing. Sometimes the title company will pay it, most times they only pay what the property owner owes.
Well, I thought we discussed talking about if, somebody moves out of a rental place and they didn't pay it, then the one that owns it would be responsible for
Yeah,
it.
but
pay
there's
it
a
before
statute
some-
that prevents
It's a
that.
state thing.
Yeah.
So is there a cap on what we can charge for water utility deposit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is there a rule that says we can make the homeowner put it in their name and not the renter's name?
What's the statute he's talking about, I think?
Yeah, I think that, that's a decision for the property owner that they typically make, and
'Cause
I
if
don't know, the
property owner
city
may not
could
pay it back.
require the property owner to do that.
I think the only way is if the property owner pays the water bill and the tenant
Most of the time,
skips.
they just, you know, you do the, you know.
Since
the
we're on this, how would you feel about, for people that won't pay, that we send it to an outside collection agency?
If we're unable to collect? I thought we already approved that.
No?
We talked about
We
it.
talked
I
about it
think
and
we
approved
approved
it.
So they normally work for half, so we only get half back, but at least we'd get something. You know, if people get the word out there that
Why
they're gonna
couldn't
get,
we get with the other cities and make a
Do we do,
thing
cre-
with, that would
No.
put everybody's name
we don't do
in it,
credit
We
checks.
don't collect social security numbers.
no,
but
You have
put
to send it to
everybody's name in
collector.
there, and if you can't just move out of one city and go to another if you're owing somewhere else.
well, people move out here and a year later come back and get another account and haven't paid to settle, haven't
Yeah,
settled
well,
up with the
they-
first one.
Well, they can't,
No.
Not anymore?
We run, they put their names in first, and if they owe, they pay their back bill first, and then they can
So
reestablish
again,
service. They put it all
Always say
together.
I
Right.
could be wrong
Pay it.
on this, but the other places that I've lived where we've had to turn on water, they've ran our credit. And I could either pay, I mean, we've always been, oh, you don't owe any money.
Right, like
Because your credit
electricity.
score is so good.
Or you pay.
You're zero. But if I was my credit score was 200, it would be based off of the credit score of how much your deposit was.
Yep.
I don't think you should do that to anybody with water, cause people, you got so many low-income people that would just be discriminating with who's got money and who's got good credit and who ain't. I mean, it's bad enough that you have to do that to get a place to live, and they may be honest people, but then you're telling somebody they can't get water turned on, or they have to pay a bigger,
But I don't think you're telling them they're
Deposit.
dishonest, I think you're just checking whether or not, and you can have
Do you
little
pay your
money and still
bills?
pay your bills.
Absolutely.
But I think at the end of the day, you need to look at increasing your deposit. That might,
Can you throw some
least-
numbers together as far
Yeah.
as if you could get an idea of how much outstanding we have?
And how much uncollected debt we are currently holding, do you know? Is
There's,
it-
I have no idea.
there's some from after the storm where a man owes 17,000. I mean,
How did we get to a $17,000 bill and not
Because
cut
it
the
was a-
water off?
it was a break during Michael.
He didn't have water. He only had sewer. So they get charged the base rate of sewer. And it wasn't until the city finally dug the sewer up and capped it. This is the same person we had a quasi hearing on Second Street.
Yeah, that's slated for demolition.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
He's never gonna pay us. Never.
There's outstanding debt on those books, so there's some that are thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Breaks after.
But if
month
it's a
of-
homeowner, we are putting a lien on the house.
I don't know if utilities, I've never put a lien on
You
a
can't
utility
foreclose,
bill.
if it's homestead, you can't foreclose a municipal.
All you can do is like when we
Put
demolition
it
a
on the
house,
non-ad valorem
Right.
assessment.
put it, yeah. We're not
Okay.
allowed,
So, but you can still do something to try to get your money back when the house is sold.
you betcha.
So are we doing that?
We've not had one yet, have we?
This year, you should, have a list of non-ad valorems, and that should be added to your, if you do ad valorem tax,
Correct,
all of that.
yeah, because
So
it's
you
a
go to the tax
non-ad
collector.
assessment.
Well, again, I'm back in the same situation as I feel like I need a little bit more information, and and you may not be able to give us what we're asking for, but is there a way to even tell us, like, what is the average bill that goes unpaid at the end of when somebody
You should be able to
leaves
run,
us?
can we do
Is
like
there a way to run
yearly
that kind of a report?
The BSD should be able to tell us that, right?
I would think so.
Yeah,
I think that will help us make a better educated decision about what our deposit should be. If we know the average ticket that's,
Can we just do like the last 5 years? Or, well, no.
we won't have
18.
BNSA
So
then,
from 18, 19.
2020, 22,
I'm sorry.
right, 3 years probably.
June of 20 is when BSNA came into effect.
so we can at least get a couple years worth.
Yeah, let's do that. If you can pull what the average is for each, each year, and then do, because I'm sure this year, 22 is gonna be way different than it was in 20, right? Because of how everything
Base
was
rates
ran.
increased and everything,
Yes.
so, yeah.
Okay. So you guys have a ton of stuff to pull.
Hope you're not wanting it relatively quickly.
Tomorrow.
You're not getting it tomorrow,
I'm
I'll be
joking.
honest with you.
Um,
I'm still training a new code guy, so
the,
I'm getting spread pretty thin.
Is there somebody else that can pull these reports though, other than you? Could the utility clerks
I'm
pull these
sure we
reports?
see if the girls
Yeah.
the
could
girls
pull-
could pull it.
They can at least contact BSNA and have them walk them through how to pull those from the utility side.
So do we wanna make a workshop to reconvene after these changes are all input?
For the handbook or the procedure manual?
Mhm.
Yeah, when do you
And-
think you can pull that off?
And could we just add
How do we
into,
arrive at these prices anyway? It's by the amount of work it takes to make the application or what?
Sir, those were set when I got here, I don't know.
Yeah, they've been around a long time, Rob. When would you say that was written, Mr. Sloan, the initial?
Those numbers
20
have been
years?
in place for many years.
Yeah, so that being said, somebody long before us did that, but what we're saying is that if we increase it by 3%, what the law allows annually, that would increase the amount. Some of those we'll never have to increase because they're,
so that application fee, we can change to whatever.
anytime we want.
It's just the ones on the,
Fee schedule,
ordinance and
yeah.
the fee schedule we
Yeah.
can only. So Jamie, can we make sure, can we put that on the 14 agenda to,
It has to be changed by ordinance, we're gonna have to advertise it,
Oh.
we're gonna have to write an
Yeah.
ordinance.
okay. When do we get, have the ordinance done?
Not the 14th, the next one.
21st is there and 14th is planning.
Oh. The 20th, or are we looking at April?
I think April's more realistic.
April 4th?
I think that, well, you all need to decide what, if you're just going to tell me a straight 3%, then I'll just go do it. Is that what everybody is saying?
Straight 3%.
Then do it every year,
Can
until we get it where it needs to be.
I can do language like that.
Make it
It's
reoccurring to
biennial,
where-
Mayor.
Yep.
So that way we wouldn't have to go every 2 years and do it.
Right.
It would just automatically increase 3%. I mean,
We haven't done it for 30 years, now's the time to do it.
some of
No,
these,
those were increased, I'm gonna say, probably,
it was before
Well-
Biden, that's for sure.
No, Mr. Sloan says he doesn't recall when they were increased.
well, I do that we worked on them, I'm trying to think when it was. Cause we worked on them a little bit and then that's when we hired, Bo Creel to do the,
Okay.
that was probably
It took over
12,
2012.
13,
2012. Is when the first real I didn't bring it.
yeah.
Prior to that, it was
You're talking
10
about, you're talking
years.
about the application fees, not the business license
Yeah, the
fees.
business, I thought we looked at all of them.
I don't
I think
remember
we
that.
did.
It's been a long time, Mayor, let me just say that.
Yep. So I think we should go ahead and get that done.
I mean, it ain't been 20 years, but it might be close, but.
So when do we wanna try to come back for the procedure manual?
Can we piggyback this on one of these other meetings? Let me go back to the calendar. Let's see.
Jamie, do you wanna piggyback it?
It's up to you guys.
When's I'm trying to see the next.
We have a 5-year plan meeting on April 3rd.
Well, honestly, I'd rather do this than the 5-year plan. The 5-year plan, I think, will take more time. I personally would rather change that meeting to this.
The benefit of that, it'll assist the auditor on it too. I'm not having findings
Yeah,
off.
that needs to, that has
If we
to
could
be-
get an audit with just 2 findings, that'd be great.
Or none.
No, we won't be able to get none. 2 is good. 2 that's, that we
Is
can't
everybody
change.
okay with that, though?
Yeah.
I'm the only one that said anything, but.
What time on the 3rd is it?
It
Nine.
is 9 AM.
They have it.
About the third,
Yes, sir.
So we're just gonna change it then to, so when are we gonna do the 5-year plan?
Why don't we make a time on that day, we'll figure out when we're gonna do that one.
Or just move it to the end of the month, whatever. I'm good with either.
We will not meet on the 18th.
Correct.
Oh, there's no council meeting, yeah.
On the 18th of April.
Okay, should we just make the plan then at the next meeting, or do we wanna book one?
I say we book it.
Okay,
I think getting these,
April the 24th,
Perfect.
and then we'll do the
9
5-year.
o'clock?
9 o'clock?
Perfect.
Where is,
For the 5-year plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
April the 24th, 9 AM? Done.
I don't know how to put this, but we have, an election on the 18th. If anything changes, we swear in on the 25th. Why would we do a 5-year plan the day before we could have new?
Then let's wait. Okay. First week in May?
Is that
This year?
We have a 9 o'clock, May 1st budget meeting. Can we do the 5-year plan and the budget meeting at the same time?
I mean, it's kind of all together.
Kind of all
It
together, yeah?
sorta is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, look, we've already made that then. Okay, perfect.
And that's when, Jamie?
May 1st at 9 AM. And while I was at the infrastructure meeting, we came up with the 3 that sit on this side, and Ms. Morris will come up for renewal in July. Ms. Morris has already indicated that she wants to remain on the board.
Good.
I have not heard from, who's over here, Ms. Wilson and Mr. Tyndall.
Okay, but I feel the same way about that as everything else. I think we put it out there, even if they wanna stay in their same seat, I think we should still put
Ask
it out
for the
there.
job, yeah.
She asked me to let you know, and then we have a meeting on the 14th for planning, and I will find out from them as well.
That way, it puts it out there for everybody to apply, because people have asked me that they want to apply for some of the other positions in Parker, and I do support that, so,
So in May, we will, put it out there because they
Right.
will in June.
right. Anything, Mr. Chappell? Ms. Galbraith?
No, sir.
Great. Ms. Barrow? Good, Ms. Gibson?
I do have one more meeting too, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay,
reached
I'm
out
getting to you.
to Ovid Solutions, who who handles grants. They are grant writers for many municipalities and small businesses, nonprofits. She would like to come to a workshop.
Speak to us.
Her name is Julie Dennis.
She comes well recommended.
When can we, I think that needs to happen sooner than later, like ASAP.
Manuals first, though, because the audit will be done
Oh.
in June, right?
I do have something.
Okay.
So,
Can she come on that same day?
On April the 3rd, I will ask her.
Do you think it'll take very long to have a conversation with her?
I think she could go first and then she, and
And
she
then
is,
she could
her office is in Wakulla, but she is from Panama City. She grew up here.
Are y'all okay with that?
It's great.
I will reach out to her and ask
Go,
her.
go ahead, Ake.
I reached out, so where I was working with the SUNS project, which is, it's very environmental and, restore land. I've been working with them since last year to put our names in for various grants that they could do for us, and then, they put it out. Daryl reached out to me, I think I told you all like 2 weeks ago, and was like, hey, do you have a project that you need designing for immediately? I said yes. We talked about the sports complex, and the project that I had put together was trees for the sports complex. And so we got the grant to have the gentleman come, look at the site, and they're gonna redesign and where trees are gonna go, where the different equipment's gonna go. We're meeting tomorrow at 2:30 to do a site visit. Tony's gonna be there, and I put you on the email. So we got that grant, and we'll be able to, when they put the plan together, we can put that out to get the money to get the trees and the landscaping done. So without that, we can't even hardly apply for anything, even when they are open, because we have to have that initial design.
Is it to
Excellent.
design the whole thing or just the landscaping?
It's the landscaping, and I'm gonna see if we can't put in more of the,
Buildings and structures.
building and structures. We'll talk about it, and we'll see what we can make happen, but the main thing is to get the design done so we can get the grants to get trees back in,
Very good.
and not just little sticks
Right,
like trees.
right, right.
So
Excellent.
that was a huge win.
Anything else, Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
Mr. Sloan?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, everybody.